Welcome to the Local Marketing Source Weekly Update, brought to you by localmarketingsource.com.
This week's Local Marketing Update is brought to you by Scott Gallagher. Scott is the co-founder of Local Marketing Source and has become the recognized expert in providing online marketing services to local businesses. Follow Scott on Twitter at ScottGallagher5 and on Facebook.com/Scott P. Gallagher.
And good afternoon, this is Scott Gallagher here with Local Marketing Source, and this is our Local Marketing Industry Weekly Update. Now, next week's LMS member call is going to be Wednesday, June 13th at 4 p.m. Eastern. And as I was just starting to say before we got everything going, today's a little bit of a different call. I'm traveling right now, and I got to apologize for the internet connectivity. If it happens to be going in and out, just please let me know through the question box and the chat box. But we've got an exciting call today. I've got some exciting news to share, and when you travel and you start to see how other things work and around the world and whatnot, I've got a very interesting story to be able to share, and I think it's going to really help out our community. But for this week's overview, just to let you know what's going on, Matt Cutts has come out and given us some of the benefits of using the rel equals author tag, and we use that a lot. It's really helped us with a lot of our ranking. And I want to share a few things about that. We're going to talk about Yahoo's new search design, as well as Yahoo's email and how it's going to affect and work with us in our industry. Google is sending out invitations for their newly converted dashboard and what that means and what local businesses are getting for that. Some misconceptions from Google about the SEO industry, different updates, their revenue goals, and link building obsessions. And then finally, some new tools with Google Analytics for content experimentation and a different API. Now for the tips this week, well, last week we talked about a review acquisition strategy, and this week we're gonna leverage that a little bit further, and I'm gonna tell you about the story of a local restaurant down in St. John's and how their story can help local SEO community in a very big way. But for a local internet marketing agency tip, last week we talked about niche-based growth for your agency. That's focusing your marketing agency in specific niches. And this week, we're going to leverage that story of that local restaurant and talk about the top local SEO strategy to be a good business in this digital world. But before we get going into the update for this week, I want to give a really big congratulations to an LMS student. Nick, I just got a fantastic email from Nick Dale. And Nick has been with Local Marketing Source for quite some time. We've really enjoyed having him. Actually, I can see that he's on the call. If I scroll down, that's great. Hey, Nick. Good morning. Nick is in New Zealand, and I understand it's about 8 o'clock in the morning there at this time. And Nick just landed himself a job as the top manager, director, I'm not sure of the title that goes along with it, for the biggest local SEO company in New Zealand and Google's #1 client. And that would be Yellow Pages, and he's set out to spearhead their local SEO services. I think that's great, and I think that's fantastic. That's what he was looking for. He seems to be very, very happy for that, and we're very happy that Nick received his local training from Local Marketing Source. And it's amazing. Like, go to school for 4 years to go get a university degree and drop a whole bunch of cash on that. And I did that, and a lot of us do that. And I'm just so amazed at the education opportunities that exist in this world that are far overseen. And even in today's day and age, the universities and colleges have not caught up with local SEO training and really what it's all about. And then that's going to lead us right into our tip of the week. And that means just to be a good business. And so, congratulations, Nick. I'm sure you and your family are very, very happy for that, and you are right. There are certain things in the business world that are just bullshit, and to me, there's certain things that I just don't like. I hate managing money. I don't like the HR side of business, and especially dealing with accounting and financials. Man, I just want to go out and sell, and I want to deliver and manage the operations department. I'm a sales, marketing, and operations manager, and definitely not any of the others. So it's, the corporate world is half a dozen of one and six of the other. But let me tell you, I'm in Newfoundland right now. I'm a Canadian. I live in the United States, and I've never been out to the East Coast. And it's fantastic. I'm here with my father, actually, and it's a really good trip. And a lot of you know that my mom passed away this past February. And my parents, when they got married, they came to the East Coast for their honeymoon. And it was always on their bucket list. Well, they just would have had, I guess they had, their 40th anniversary 3 days ago. And so my dad said to me, he said, Scott, we're going. Fantastic. First off, anybody that's listening to this, I am an extremely ignorant Canadian that I had no idea how beautiful this province is and how amazing the people are, and especially the culture, the history, and the music is just fantastic. But also the seafood. So we wanted to go out for a really nice meal. As a matter of fact, we're buying some fresh lobster right off the wharf and having it cooked, and that's going to be our dinner tonight. But we were going out for a lobster dinner, and so we get a recommendation from a local. Always talk to the locals to go to this restaurant. And we go to this restaurant. My dad and I like to look at business operations and see how things work, and all the little details and all this and that. Well, we learned a few things about this restaurant, that they just opened up in November, and we could not get a seat in that restaurant for 4 hours. Everything was booked solid. They're booked solid weeks in advance. And we were curious about all of this. And when I started to look at their marketing is horrible. I mean, there's no signs on the outside of the restaurant that say the name of it or anything like that. There's just this one little black kind of club. The marketing and the dinner guides are really, really bad. Their website is not great, but it's existent and it's got a presence out there. But this business is booked, and I question them a lot. Well, what are you doing? How have you done this and this and that? We're not even in tourism season right now in Newfoundland and St. John's, but this place just demolishes everything else around. Well, obviously they're doing a few things right. And this is a business that was able to grow organically and through word of mouth. And guess what? Well, all of that organic discussion has translated into #1 results in Google. The discussions that are out there. You want to eat at busy restaurants, word of mouth. Well, one thing, a local marketing source that we've always predicated ourselves on to help businesses get up to the top of Google is that they've got to be better businesses. And when we start to talk about things of being better businesses, take, for example, reviews and responding to reviews and review management, getting exposure that's out there, having that Facebook page and making sure that content is up there and it's content that's got engagement with it. And so really, you want your business or your client's business to be #1 on Google, you've got to understand that business. You've got to understand that business model and understand their customers. You're not going to do the same thing for every client that's out there. Every business is different. Even 2 chiropractors are going to position themselves into the marketplace differently. And it's our job as search engine optimizers or internet marketers to create the content that complements that business. And some of that content might be the discussions on a profile page and ensuring you've got the right images that are up there and whatnot. But at the end of the day, you've got to have a good business. And you're just not going to survive even with some of the best marketing that exists out there. Now, a company like this one, when I say their marketing, it was their offline, and they can make things a little more visually appealing and whatnot. But they surely have not spent any money in SEO in the St. John's, Newfoundland area, and they're getting incredible results. And so that's why we talk about these things, such as review acquisitions and creating those videos that are very, very important to support your different profiles and having a very well written description and all of that exists. And of course, engagement with your audience. And you can't just have people like you on Facebook or Google+. Having the appropriate engagement with that. All right, so having said that, let's get into some of our weekly updates. There's been some good ones to talk about. And first wanted to talk about the rel equals author HTML markup tag. Well, what this is in the HTML code, you can tag and your account, your Google Plus account, and so when Google does searches, or when somebody's searching on Google, your website or blog is going to have a picture of you and identify you as an author. And even though we've talked about a lot of this, I mean, we go to the point when we talk about testimonials, for example, not only putting in an individual's name, but actually linking to their social profile. Well, this is a lot of what this is like. It's adding trust to authors. And it's really helping Google move from an anonymous web to a web with identity. And therefore, different sites will continue to get different types of connectivity. Yeah, I see this internet, man. It's going in and out. But that's all right. We're recording it and having a little bit of fun. So that's very important, guys, to utilize that tag. The fact that Matt Cutts comes out and talks about it and how it benefits web spam is definitely something that should be used on every business website, and link that to your social profiles. Well, Yahoo's rolled out a new search results design. Yahoo's going through a lot of changes now that they've got, there's the new CEO that's in. Major changes. They're hitting news all over the place. They've made major changes to their email. Yahoo's the second biggest email provider on the planet. And to go and upset their users in that particular way was a big deal, but I think they're making the right choices. Their new search results design is much simpler, easier to use, get quicker information. Marissa's really doing a bang-up job. I think Yahoo, could potentially begin to turn around. Who knows? But go check that out and see how that works. Google is sending emails inviting businesses to update their listing in a newly converted dashboard. So this is a big rollout for Google right now. Definitely get in there and check out that dashboard and follow the best practices of managing that. I've got some blog posts that are out there that are written about best practices, but if you're in the portal, you can also go check out the we did a webinar on best practices for profiles. Some misconceptions about the SEO industry. And again, Google's coming out. Google is continually helping SEOs much more. And this was really nice to see. And so there's a few things that Google has come out, well, via Matt Cutts, in more of a PR type of way, about the misconceptions of the SEO industry. And we're going to talk about 3 of them: how SEOs confuse algorithm updates with data refreshes. Number 2, Panda and Penguin algorithms. They're not in existence for Google to make more money. And 3, where SEOs spend way too much time focusing on items like link building. And so, algorithm updates versus data refreshes. First off, I don't care. I personally care less when algorithm updates come out. We're continually trying to see, what are the factors that Google is looking for in businesses, and let's go and replicate those factors. Items like social interaction that I was talking about, items like reviews. This is all just regular, typical business practice, and it makes sense. And so all these engineers at Google are really starting to catch up and understand, what makes good businesses and what businesses they really want to show. And if Google is showing me, bad businesses or businesses that ultimately don't survive in the long term, and a business will not survive in the long term if they're not competitive, provide a value-added service, and keep their customers happy and keep their customers coming back. So as soon as if Google knew, and they can go and look at this restaurant in Newfoundland, and they knew that, hey, they grew themselves, in less than 6 months of being booked solid for weeks on end. Let's send our people there. Let's send our searchers there. People will be happy with Google. And if they put that business number 1. So really, that's what they're looking for. Google's really looking for just good businesses. And we create the content to show them that in a real, organic way. You can't fake it. You can't put up fake reviews. People see through that shit all the time. You've got to have good customers that are leaving reviews and make it easy for them. You're not out soliciting. Okay, so I don't really care about updates even to begin with, but the SEO community really confuses a lot of different updates. Google does 500 updates a year, and their biggest ones of Penguin and Panda. Things also take time, and so we have a thing called an algorithm update and data refreshes, and the SEO community gets way, way, way too tied up into that. Most recently, we've just had a data refresh, and basically Penguin 2 and Penguin 3 were mostly just data refreshes, where data refreshes when Google updates the data where their algorithms run. They can't do it all at once. Panda and Penguin updates are not about revenue gains for Google. The SEO community came out and said, wow, they're changing that. They're trying to make more money and this and that. Matt comes out and says, it's pretty simple. You keep your people happy, then they'll keep coming back to do searches, and they'll do more searches. And so the better the search experience is, the more often they're going to come back. And it does sound a little PR-y, to be able to say that. But I genuinely believe that Google, in their best interest, does follow that, and how they've completely separated organic search with their paid revenues. And in a sense, these updates were about removing spam from Google anyhow. And a lot of spam sites out there were big money makers through Google's AdSense sharing program. And so it's very possible and likely that in the short term with these updates, Google is making less money just to continue to support their services. And finally, SEOs spend too much time on link building and search engines. Well, God, I've been predicating and blowing this one up for a long time. Yeah, who cares about link building? I don't. I don't care about link building. I don't care about algorithm updates. Of course, link building is very important. There's, but when you look at it from a different way, that our job as marketers is to create content that the industry, customers, and prospects get value from, and distribute that content to areas that they might be. So if I'm creating an article and going and putting on a blog over in China to get a link back to my site, Google's just going to get smarter and smarter and smarter, and those are going to be dissipated, as opposed to me going and creating an article for a chiropractor and having that distributed with the local chamber of commerce and having them reproduce it on their website in a local community. So I'm not concerned about link building and going and getting those links from those blogs in China, but I am concerned about creating marketing material that's important for that businesses, clients, or customers, patients, whatever you want to call them, their prospects, and their industry. And most interestingly, if you go and check out the definition of marketing from the American Marketing Association, exactly with what I described is what marketing is. So SEO is just marketing. And finally, Google has launched a new tool with their Google Analytics to do content testing, or A/B testing, and that's kind of cool. We use different tools in the past to be able to check out different content, display different content, and whatnot. Not so much is it going to be used in local community. We don't get a lot of traffic, but it's a neat little tool. So having said that, I could see that my internet had dropped off, and I've lost everybody on the call. Well, for those members that are on the call, I'm going to get this recorded and up as soon as possible. And just please go and post questions. I'll take the time to communicate with you and answer any questions that you might have and get through it. So I can't take questions right now. Bummer. All right, well, I guess I'm not saying goodbye to anybody then. A little different when you're just recording. So this is going to be the end of our call for all you people that are listening to the recording. All right, bye for now.